The massive crystal dome of Proxima Prime gleamed under the light of 3 suns. Inside the dome, 12 different alien species sat in a perfect circle. Each species had their own section with seats made for their unique bodies. The air was thick with tension as representatives whispered among themselves. Ambassador Teho of the Vixarian Empire stood up. His tall frame was covered in dark green scales that caught the light as he moved. His yellow eyes scanned the room before he spoke. "Fellow council members, we face a crisis unlike any in our history," Teho said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "The humans have become too dangerous to ignore." A holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth, a small blue planet spinning slowly. Then the image changed to show human colonies scattered across nearby star systems. "Look at these numbers," Teho continued. 200 years ago, humans lived on one world. They had not even left their home planet. Today, they control 37 worlds across 12 star systems. Murmurs spread through the council. The healer caste members, tall beings with silver skin and large eyes, shook their heads in concern. The techno-collective representatives, beings made more of metal than flesh, clicked and whirred as they processed the information. Council leader Yun Su of the Ethereal Collective raised her hand. Her body seemed to glow with inner light and her voice sounded like music when she spoke. "Ambassador Teho speaks the truth," Yun Su said. "We have watched human expansion for decades. Their growth rate is beyond anything we have seen before. Most species take thousands of years to spread to even 5 worlds. Humans did it in less than 50 years. The holographic display changed again. Now it showed human ships, sleek and fast, moving between stars. Then it showed human research stations, human mining operations, human cities on worlds that had been empty just years before. A representative from the warrior clans stood up. General Wubin was massive even by his species standards. His forearms crossed over his chest as he spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "Speed of expansion is not our only concern," Wubin said. "Look at their military development. They have created weapons we thought impossible. They have turned peaceful technologies into instruments of war." The display showed human weapons now. Energy weapons that could cut through the strongest alien armor. Ships that moved faster than most species thought possible. Defense systems that could protect entire planets. "They call it innovation," said Dr. Hai Jin from the Science Consortium. She was a small being with tentacles instead of arms, but her mind was one of the sharpest in the galaxy. "We call it dangerous. They take our research, our discoveries that took us centuries to develop, and they improve them in just years." An older alien from the Trade Federation spoke up. His name was Jun Ho, and he had been trading with humans for 20 years. "Perhaps we judge too harshly," Jun Ho said carefully. "Humans are excellent trading partners. They pay fair prices and deliver goods on time. They have helped many of our worlds prosper." Several council members made angry noises. Ambassador Teho's scales darkened with emotion. "That is exactly the problem," Teho snapped. "They are too good at everything they do. Trade, research, warfare, expansion. They excel in every field. At this rate, they will surpass us all within a generation." Council leader Yun Su stood up and the room fell silent. When she spoke, her words carried the weight of authority. "The question before us is simple," she said. "Do we act now to limit human growth, or do we wait until they become too powerful to stop?" The holographic display changed one final time. It showed projections of human expansion over the next 100 years. Red dots spread across the galaxy map like a plague, showing where human colonies might be established. "If these projections are correct," Yunsu continued, "humans will control half the galaxy within 2 centuries. They will have more worlds, more resources, and more military power than any 3 of our species combined." A representative from the Peaceful Assembly raised a concern. Her name was Sora, and she was known for her calm wisdom. "What you propose sounds like war," Sora said quietly. "The Peaceful Assembly cannot support direct conflict with humans." "No one speaks of war," Teho replied quickly. "We speak of economic pressure, trade restrictions, technology embargoes, resource denial. We make it difficult for humans to expand further." Dr. Hyejin nodded in agreement. "We cut off their access to rare materials. We stop sharing research with them. We make their expansion too expensive to continue." General Wubin added his support. "We restrict their access to key trade routes. We deny them refueling rights at our stations. We make space travel costly for them." One by one, each species representative gave their opinion. The healer caste worried about cutting off medical trade with humans but agreed it was necessary. The techno-collective feared losing human innovation, but saw the long-term threat. Even the Trade Federation, despite their profits from human commerce, admitted that action was needed. Only the Peaceful Assembly and two smaller species voted against the proposal. It was not enough to stop what was coming. Council leader Yunsu called for the final vote. All in favor of Operation Restraint? 9 hands, claws, tentacles, and other appendages rose into the air. The decision was made. Operation Restraint is approved, Yunsu announced. Effective immediately. All member species will cease non-essential trade with human worlds. Technology sharing agreements are terminated. Access to galactic trade routes will be restricted. Resource sales to human colonies will be limited to basic survival needs only. The council members began to file out of the chamber. Most felt satisfied that they had prevented a future catastrophe. A few worried about the economic impact on their own worlds. None of them suspected that they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. Light years away, on the bridge of the human exploration vessel Indomitable, Captain Dongwook Kim received an encrypted message from Earth Command. He read it twice, then called his senior officers to the bridge. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said to his crew, "we have a problem. The Galactic Council has just declared economic war on humanity." His first officer, Commander A-Rin, frowned as she read the message. "Complete trade embargo? Technology ban? This is more than economic pressure, Captain. This is an attempt to strangle our entire civilization." Captain Kim looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. Somewhere out there, 12 alien species had just united against humanity. They thought they could force humans to accept limits on their growth and development. They had no idea what they had just unleashed. "Send a message to all human colonies," Captain Kim ordered. "Tell them to prepare for isolation and contact Earth Command. Tell them we need to start Operation Phoenix immediately." The crew worked quickly to carry out their orders. None of them knew what Operation Phoenix was, but they trusted their captain. As the Indomitable changed course for home, Captain Kim smiled grimly. The aliens thought they could cage humanity. They were about to learn that caged humans were the most dangerous kind. 6 months had passed since the Galactic Council declared their embargo on humanity. The effects were beginning to show across human space like cracks spreading through glass. Administrator Ji-Hai Park stood at the observation deck of New Sol Colony, watching alien cargo ships approach the edge of their star system. One by one, the ships stopped at the boundary markers, scanned the human colony, and then turned away without making contact. "That is the 15th ship this week," said her assistant Sung Min as he joined her at the window. He carried a data pad filled with bad news. "They get close enough to see us, then leave. The healer caste ships will not even respond to emergency medical requests." Ji-Hai sighed and took the data pad from Sung Min. The numbers were worse than last month. Medical supplies were running dangerously low. The advanced healing equipment that kept their hospital running needed parts that only the healer caste produced. "How long do we have?" Ji-Hai asked, though she already knew the answer would not be good. 3 months of medical supplies at current usage, Sung Min replied. "Maybe 4 if we start rationing. But Administrator, people will die if we cannot get those surgical implants renewed." Across the colony, similar conversations were happening in every department. The food production manager worried about fertilizer chemicals that came from the Agricultural Guild. The power station chief needed replacement parts for the fusion reactors. The communication officer could not repair the long-range transmitters without techno-collective components. New Sol was not alone in its struggles. Every human colony felt the squeeze of the embargo in different ways. On the industrial world of Busan 7, Chief Engineer Wu Jin crawled through the maintenance tunnels beneath the main factory. His hands were dirty with grease and his uniform was torn, but he kept working. The quantum processors that ran the entire manufacturing complex were failing one by one. "Hand me that scanner," Wu Jin called to his assistant Kyung-ho. "I need to see how bad the damage is in Processor Unit 7. Kyung-ho passed him the device and watched as Wu Jin examined the failing machinery. The quantum processors were incredibly complex devices that required regular maintenance with special tools and replacement parts. All of those tools and parts came from the Techno Collective, who had stopped all shipments to human space. "Can we repair it?" Kyung-ho asked hopefully. Wu Jin shook his head as he studied the scanner readings. Not with what we have. These processors use quantum field generators that we cannot make ourselves. Without replacement parts, they will all fail within the year. The factory on Busan 7 produced everything from computer components to spacecraft parts. If it stopped working, 12 other human colonies would lose their supply of essential equipment. Wu Jin knew that thousands of people were depending on him to find a solution. We need to start taking apart the broken processors, Wu Jin decided. Maybe we can use parts from the dead ones to keep some of the others running. It was not a good solution, but it was the only option they had. The situation was repeated across human space. On mining colonies, the heavy equipment broke down without replacement parts. On research stations, advanced instruments failed without proper maintenance. On farming worlds, the automated systems that fed millions of people started to malfunction. The aliens had chosen their restrictions carefully. They did not cut off basic food or water or air, which would have been seen as an act of war. Instead, they targeted the complex technologies that made modern human civilization possible. Without these technologies, human colonies would slowly decline until they were forced to ask for help. At least, that was what the aliens expected to happen on Earth. In the underground laboratories of the Terra Research Institute, Dr. So-Young worked 18 hours a day with her team of scientists. The embargo had pushed them to start something called Operation Phoenix, and the work never stopped. "Show me the analysis of the HealerCast medical scanner," Dr. So-Young said to her research assistant Minho. Minho brought up holographic displays showing the inside of an alien medical device. They had been studying every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on, taking it apart to understand how it worked. "The basic principle is cellular regeneration using targeted energy fields," Minho explained. "But the way they generate those fields is incredibly inefficient. Look at this power consumption curve." Dr. So-Young studied the data with interest. "They use brute force where we could use precision. What if we tried a different approach entirely?" This conversation was happening in dozens of research facilities across human space. Cut off from alien technology, human scientists had no choice but to develop their own solutions. They could not simply copy what the aliens did, because they lacked the materials and manufacturing techniques. Instead, they had to find completely new ways to solve old problems. The work was difficult and frustrating. Many experiments failed. Some research teams worked for months only to discover that their approach would not work. But slowly, gradually, they began to make progress. Dr. So-Young's team developed a new type of medical scanner that used human-made components. It was not as advanced as the HealerCast version, but it worked. More importantly, it could be built entirely with materials that humans could produce themselves. Other teams were working on different problems. Computer specialists tried to recreate quantum processors without alien technology. Agricultural experts looked for ways to replace alien fertilizers with human-made chemicals. Engineers designed new manufacturing techniques that did not require alien tools. The research was expensive and time-consuming. Earth's government poured enormous resources into Operation Phoenix, knowing that the future of human civilization depended on becoming self-sufficient. Meanwhile, the embargo was having unexpected effects on the alien species as well. On the Verdani homeworld, Agricultural Guild leader Heywan reviewed the latest economic reports with growing concern. The numbers were not good. "Our profits are down 40% from last year," her financial advisor Junseo reported. "The human colonies were some of our best customers. They paid premium prices and never demanded credit extensions." Heywan nodded sadly. She had opposed the embargo from the beginning, but the guild was bound by the council's decision. Still, she could not help but notice that other species were not buying the products that humans used to purchase. "The fertilizer compounds we made for human agricultural worlds," Heywan asked. "Can we sell them to other species?" Junseo shook his head. "Most other species use different farming techniques. They have no need for our specialized products. We are stuck with warehouses full of chemicals that only humans wanted to buy." Similar problems affected other alien businesses. The Techno Collective had entire factories that produced components designed specifically for human technology. The HealerCast had developed new medical treatments based on human biological research. Independent traders had built their routes around profitable stops at human colonies. All of these economic relationships were now cut off by the embargo. Some aliens began to question whether the council had made the right decision. The embargo was supposed to hurt only humans, but it was causing pain throughout the galaxy. Smaller alien species that had grown dependent on human trade were suffering the most, but the Council leadership remained firm. They believed that short-term economic pain was worth the long-term benefit of controlling human expansion. They had no idea that their embargo was about to backfire in the most spectacular way possible. While they counted their losses and waited for humans to surrender, Operation Phoenix was preparing to change everything. The hunters were about to become the hunted, but they did not know it yet. 2 years had passed since the embargo began. The Galactic Council expected to see human colonies collapsing by now. Instead, something unexpected was happening throughout the galaxy. Captain Hyun-woo of the merchant vessel Lucky Dragon sat in a dimly lit bar on the space station Crossroads. Across from him sat an alien trader he had never met before. The alien kept looking around nervously as they spoke in whispers. "You understand the risks?" the alien trader asked. His name was Veltar, and he belonged to a small species called the Nimble Folk. They were natural merchants who had traded throughout the galaxy for centuries. "I understand," Captain Hyunwoo replied quietly. "You have medical supplies from the healer caste. I have rare metals from human mining colonies. We make a fair trade and nobody reports it to the council." Veltar nodded quickly. The healer caste officially supports the embargo, but some of their younger members think it is wrong to let people die for politics. They are willing to sell medical supplies through intermediaries like me. This conversation was one of hundreds happening across the galaxy. The official embargo was still in place, but a black market was growing in the shadows. Not all aliens supported the council's decision, and some were willing to take risks to continue trading with humans. Captain Hyunwoo had discovered the black market by accident 6 months earlier. His ship had suffered engine damage near the border of healer caste space. When he sent out a distress call, he expected to be ignored like all other human requests for help. Instead, a young healer caste medic named Sil Una had responded. She repaired his engines and refused payment, saying that her oath as a healer came before council politics. When Captain Hyunwoo offered to trade rare metals for medical supplies, she had quietly agreed. That single trade had grown into a network spanning dozens of species and hundreds of traders. Back on Earth, Admiral Young-ho reviewed the reports from merchant captains like Hyunwoo. The information was encouraging but also concerning. "The black market is growing," Admiral Young-ho said to his staff during their weekly meeting, "but it is still dangerous and expensive. We pay 3 times the normal price for basic supplies, and our captains risk imprisonment if they are caught." Commander Se-jin, head of intelligence, added more details. "The interesting part is which species are willing to trade with us. It is not the big, powerful ones. It is the smaller species who depended on our business. They are suffering from the embargo too." This was true. The Verdani Agricultural Guild was losing millions of credits every month without human customers. The small mining cooperatives had warehouses full of rare metals that only humans wanted to buy. Independent traders who had built profitable routes through human space were going bankrupt. The embargo was supposed to hurt only humans. Instead, it was damaging the entire galactic economy. On the rim world of Kepler Station, a former human mining outpost, something remarkable was taking place. Engineer Dae-sung had converted the abandoned mining facility into something new, the first official neutral zone between human and alien space. "Welcome to Kepler Station," Dae-sung announced to a mixed crowd of humans and aliens. "Here the embargo does not exist. Here we trade freely and fairly with anyone who comes in peace." The station was technically located in unclaimed space, beyond the jurisdiction of any government. Dae-sung had declared it an independent facility, open to all species. The Galactic Council could not legally shut it down without starting a war. Within months, Kepler Station became the most important trading post in the sector. Humans brought rare metals, innovative technologies, and manufactured goods. Aliens brought medical supplies, exotic materials, and scientific instruments. Everyone benefited from the trade. But Kepler Station was more than just a market. It became a center for information exchange and cooperation between species. Dr. Yoon Seo, a human researcher who had fled to Kepler Station when her university funding was cut, found herself working alongside alien scientists who had also been hurt by the embargo. Together, they made discoveries that neither species could have achieved alone. "Look at this," Dr. Yoon Seo said excitedly to her research partner. a techno-collective engineer named Kick7. If we combine human neural interface technology with your quantum processing methods, we can create computers that think like living beings. Kick7's mechanical eyes lit up with interest. This could revolutionize artificial intelligence throughout the galaxy. But the Council has forbidden us to share advanced technology with humans. Dr. Yunseo smiled. The Council has no authority here. On Kepler Station, science has no borders. Similar collaborations were happening throughout the station. Human doctors worked with healer caste medics to develop new treatments. Human engineers partnered with alien technicians to solve manufacturing problems. Human traders shared market information with alien merchants. The knowledge flowing through Kepler Station was changing both humans and aliens in unexpected ways. Back on the Vexarian homeworld, Ambassador Tejo received disturbing reports from his intelligence agents. The embargo was not working as planned. Human colonies are not collapsing, his chief intelligence officer Kang Ho reported. In fact, many of them are becoming more self-sufficient. They are developing their own technologies to replace what they cannot buy from us. Tejo studied the reports with growing concern. What about their expansion? Surely they cannot continue colonizing new worlds without our support. Kang Ho shook his head. That is the most troubling part, Ambassador. Human expansion has actually accelerated. They have established 14 new colonies in the past year, more than they ever did when they had free access to our markets. This news was shocking. The embargo was supposed to slow human growth, not speed it up. Tejo demanded to know how this was possible. They are using different strategies now, Kang Ho explained. Instead of buying expensive alien equipment, they are developing simpler technologies that they can produce themselves. Instead of relying on alien traders, they are building their own merchant fleets. Instead of following established trade routes, they are exploring new regions of space. The report continued with more disturbing information. Human ships were appearing in parts of the galaxy that had never been explored before. Human colonies were being established on worlds that other species had considered too difficult or dangerous to settle. Human technology, while different from alien designs, was proving to be remarkably effective. Most troubling of all, humans were recruiting allies from among the smaller alien species. The independent traders, the minor guilds, and the frontier settlements that had been hurt by the embargo were increasingly turning to humans for trade and protection. We intended to isolate humanity, Tejo said grimly. Instead, we may have isolated ourselves. On Proxima Prime, Council Leader Yunsu convened an emergency session. Representatives from all member species gathered to discuss the unexpected consequences of their embargo. The humans are adapting faster than we anticipated, Yunsu announced to the assembled council. More concerning, they are building alliances with non-council species. Our intelligence suggests that over 30 independent alien governments have established trade relationships with human colonies. The council members exchanged worried glances. This was not what they had planned. General Wubin of the warrior clan spoke first. If humans continue to gain allies, they will eventually have enough support to challenge the council directly. We may need to consider more aggressive measures. Dr. Hyojin from the Science Consortium disagreed. Military action would unite all of human space against us. It might also drive more neutral species to support them out of fear. The debate continued for hours, but no clear solution emerged. The embargo was failing, but none of the alternatives seemed better. Some council members wanted to strengthen the restrictions, while others suggested negotiating with human leaders. What none of them realized was that their window for negotiation was rapidly closing. While they argued about policy, humans were developing capabilities that would soon make the entire discussion pointless. On Kepler Station, in the combined human-alien research laboratory, Dr. Yunseo was about to make a breakthrough that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. She just did not know it yet. Year 3 of the embargo brought changes that no one had expected. On the Luna research facility orbiting Earth, Dr. Yunjung stood before a massive bank of computers unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. We have been thinking about this problem all wrong, Dr. Yunjung explained to the gathered scientists from across human space. For decades, we tried to copy alien technology. We wanted to make our computers work like theirs, our ships fly like theirs, our weapons fire like theirs. She gestured to the strange new computers humming quietly behind her. Instead of the cold metal and crystal circuits that aliens used, These machines pulsed with a warm, organic glow. But human minds do not work like alien minds, Dr. Yoon-jung continued. We think differently. We solve problems differently. So why should our technology work the same way as theirs? The breakthrough had come 6 months earlier when Dr. Yoon-jung's team ran out of quantum processors. Without alien-made components, they could not build traditional computers. Desperate, they had tried something no alien species had ever attempted. They connected human brain tissue to computer circuits. The result was revolutionary. Bioneural computers that could think, learn, and adapt like living beings. They were not faster than alien quantum processors, but they were infinitely more creative. They could solve problems that stumped traditional computers by thinking of solutions that no one had programmed into them. Show them the test results, Dr. Yoon-jung said to her assistant. Dr. Min-jae activated a holographic display. We gave the bioneural computer the same engineering problem that took alien researchers 50 years to solve. Our computer found a solution in 3 days. Not the same solution, but a better one, the assembled scientists murmured with excitement. This was exactly what Operation Phoenix had been hoping to achieve. Not copying alien technology, but surpassing it through human innovation. Similar breakthroughs were happening across human space. Cut off from alien suppliers, human engineers had been forced to develop their own solutions to every problem. The results were beginning to show. On the orbital shipyard above Mars, Chief Engineer Jae-won put the finishing touches on humanity's newest creation. The ship looked nothing like the elegant alien vessels that sailed between the stars. It was angular and rough, built from materials that humans could produce themselves. She may not be pretty, Jae-won said to his construction team, but she will fly faster and farther than anything the aliens have. The ship was equipped with the Harmony drive, a faster-than-light engine that combined human innovation with principles learned from captured alien technology. But where alien FTL drives required rare materials found only on a few worlds, the Harmony drive used synthetic components that could be manufactured anywhere. How fast? Asked Commander Yoo-jin, who would captain the new vessel. Jae-won smiled proudly. 3 times faster than the best alien ships. And we can build these drives in any decent machine shop. The first test flight exceeded all expectations. The ship, christened New Hope, traveled from Mars to Proxima Centauri in 12 hours. The fastest alien ship would have needed 2 days for the same journey. More importantly, the Harmony drive was simple enough that human colonies could build their own FTL ships without relying on expensive alien shipyards. For the first time since the embargo began, humans were completely independent in space travel. But the technological revolution was not limited to computers and starships. In the medical centers of human space, doctors were developing treatments that amazed even the healer caste. Dr. Hae-young had spent 2 years studying alien medical techniques through the black market network. She learned how the healer caste used energy fields to repair damaged tissue, but when she tried to replicate their methods, she kept failing. Their approach requires precise control that human hands cannot achieve, Dr. Hae-young explained to her research team. So let us try a different approach. Instead of controlling the energy fields directly, what if we program them to control themselves? The result was programmable medical nanobots that could repair injuries from the inside. Unlike alien healing techniques that required skilled operators, the nanobots worked automatically. They were more precise than alien methods and could treat conditions that even the healer caste found difficult. The breakthrough came when Dr. Hae-young successfully treated a patient with severe spinal damage. The nanobots not only repaired the injury, but improved the patient's spine beyond its original condition. The man could now lift twice as much weight as before his accident. Word of the success spread quickly through the black market. Soon aliens were secretly coming to human medical facilities for treatment of conditions their own doctors could not cure. On Kepler Station, the flow of information and technology was accelerating. What had started as a simple trading post was becoming the most advanced research center in the galaxy. Dr. Yoon-seo continued her collaboration with the techno-collective engineer, Keeks-7. Together, they had developed manufacturing processes that could create materials stronger than anything previously known. Look at this, Dr. Yoon-seo said, holding up a sheet of metal that looked perfectly ordinary. It weighs less than aluminum but is stronger than the best alien battle armor. Keeks-7 ran his scanners over the material. Impossible. According to our physics, this should not exist. That is the point, Dr. Yunseo replied with a grin. We stopped trying to follow alien physics and started developing our own. The new materials were created using a combination of human chemistry and alien energy manipulation. The process was so efficient that it could be done in small workshops rather than massive industrial facilities. These innovations were not going unnoticed by the Galactic Council. Intelligence reports flooded in daily, each one more alarming than the last. Human technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate, reported Agent Dong Hyun to Ambassador Taeho. Their new ships are faster than ours. Their computers are more adaptable than ours. Their medical treatments are more effective than ours. Taeho studied the reports with growing alarm. How is this possible? We cut off their access to advanced research. We denied them our materials and components. That appears to be exactly why they are succeeding, Agent Dong Hyun replied. Without access to our technology, they have been forced to innovate. And human innovation, it seems, is far more capable than we realized. The most troubling report came from a spy who had infiltrated Kepler Station. Human scientists were not just improving on alien designs. They were creating entirely new categories of technology that aliens had never imagined. They have developed weapons that can turn our own shields against us, the spy reported. They have created computers that can predict our battle tactics before we make them. They have built ships that can travel to parts of the galaxy we have never explored. The embargo was supposed to keep humans dependent on alien technology. Instead, it had forced them to develop technologies that made alien science obsolete. On Earth, the Global Research Council met to discuss the next phase of human development. The embargo had been a blessing in disguise, forcing humanity to reach its full potential. We are no longer the junior partners in galactic civilization, announced Research Director Il-sung. In many fields, we have surpassed our former teachers. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity can truly accomplish. The decision was made to end the secrecy around human technological advances. New Hope and her sister ships would begin open exploration of uncharted space. Human colonies would offer their advanced technologies to any alien species willing to trade fairly. Most importantly, humans would begin extending protection to the smaller alien species that had been hurt by the Council's policies. The hunters were about to become the hunted, and the prey was ready to bare its teeth. The Galactic Council had created their own worst nightmare. They had given humanity the motivation and opportunity to surpass them in every field. Now they would face the consequences of their miscalculation. The revolution was about to begin. Year 4 brought the reversal that changed everything. Captain Minho commanded the exploration fleet Pathfinder as it emerged from hyperspace in the Outer Rim territories. His ships moved so fast that alien sensors could barely track them. Target system achieved, reported Navigator So-jin from her station. No alien presence detected in this sector. Captain Minho nodded as he studied the star charts. Mark this system as human territory and deploy the survey beacons. We will have a full colony established here within 6 months. The speed of human expansion was now unprecedented. Ships equipped with Harmony drives could travel farther in one day than alien vessels could manage in a week. Human colonies were appearing in regions of space that other species had never even explored. But speed was not the only advantage humans now possessed. Their technology allowed them to settle worlds that aliens considered impossible to colonize. Captain, called Science Officer Yanwu from his console, the planet in this system has a toxic atmosphere and extreme weather patterns. Standard terraforming would take decades. Good thing we do not use standard terraforming, Captain Minho replied with a smile. Deploy the atmospheric processors and the weather control satellites. This world will be habitable within 2 years. Human terraforming technology used programmable nanobots similar to their medical systems. Instead of slowly changing a planet's environment over generations, the nanobots could reshape entire ecosystems in just a few years. They could neutralize toxins, regulate weather, and create breathable atmospheres on worlds that other species would never attempt to settle. Back in civilized space, the economic balance was shifting dramatically. Ambassador Soo-jin sat across from Verdani Agricultural Guild leader Hae-won in the luxurious conference room of Kepler Station. Your offer is generous, Hae-won said carefully, but the Galactic Council would not approve of a formal trade agreement with humanity. Soo-jin smiled and activated a holographic display. The Council's approval is no longer required. Look at these numbers. The display showed economic data from across the galaxy. Human colonies were now producing goods that were in high demand throughout known space. Their advanced materials were stronger and lighter than anything aliens could manufacture. Their computer systems were more efficient than traditional designs. Their medical treatments were saving lives that alien doctors had given up for lost. We are offering you exclusive distribution rights for human terraforming technology in your sector, Sujin continued. The Agricultural Guild could transform dead worlds into garden planets. Think of the profits. Haywan studied the data with growing excitement. Human terraforming could create farmland on thousands of worlds that were currently worthless. The Agricultural Guild could become the wealthiest organization in the galaxy. What do you want in return? Haywan asked. Formal recognition of human territorial claims in the Outer Rim, Sujin replied, and a mutual defense agreement in case the Council decides to take military action against us. It was an offer Haywan could not refuse. Within hours, the Verdani Agricultural Guild became the first major alien organization to formally break ranks with the Galactic Council. Similar negotiations were taking place throughout the galaxy. Human diplomats offered alien species technologies they desperately needed in exchange for political support. The results were dramatic. On the Techno-Collective homeworld, Chairman Kix-9 received disturbing reports from his trade analysts. Human manufacturing processes are now 40% more efficient than ours, reported senior analyst Bix-3. Their products cost less to make and perform better than our equivalents. We are losing market share across all sectors. Kix-9's mechanical eyes dimmed with concern. How many of our client species have switched to human suppliers? 17 major trade partners have begun buying human goods instead of ours, Bix-3 replied. If this trend continues, the Techno-Collective will face economic collapse within 5 years. The same pattern was repeating throughout the galaxy. Alien industries that had dominated their markets for centuries were being outcompeted by human alternatives. The embargo that was supposed to strangle human trade was instead destroying alien economies. On Proxima Prime, Council leader Yunsu called another emergency session. The holographic displays around the council chamber showed the dismal reality facing their alliance. 8 species have now formally withdrawn from the embargo, Yunsu announced to the increasingly worried representatives. 12 others have requested permission to negotiate separate trade agreements with humanity. Ambassador Taiho stood up, his scales darker than usual with stress. This cannot continue. If we lose any more allies, we will not have enough support to maintain our authority. What do you suggest? Asked Dr. Hyojin from the Science Consortium. Military action? That would turn the entire galaxy against us. General Wu Bin crossed his forearms over his chest. Perhaps limited military action. A demonstration of our power to remind the galaxy who is in charge. The debate grew heated as different species proposed different solutions. Some wanted to strengthen the embargo with military enforcement. Others suggested negotiating with human leaders before it was too late. A few even proposed accepting humans as equals in the galactic community. What none of them knew was that their window for negotiation had already closed. While they argued, human technology had advanced so far beyond their own that military action was no longer a viable option. In the shipyards above Earth, Admiral Kyung-soo inspected the newest human battle fleet. The ships looked nothing like traditional designs. They were smaller, faster, and equipped with weapons that no alien species had ever encountered. Show me the combat simulations, Admiral Kyung-soo said to Fleet Engineer Nam-ho. Nam-ho activated a holographic display showing theoretical battles between human and alien fleets. Our ships are outnumbered 10-1 in every scenario, but our mobility advantage and adaptive weapon systems give us victory in 87% of simulations. The human ships used swarm tactics that confused alien battle computers. They could coordinate their movements instantly using bioneural networks that thought faster than traditional systems. Their weapons could adapt to enemy defenses in real time, making them nearly impossible to counter. Most importantly, human ships could retreat and regroup faster than alien fleets could pursue them. They could strike at will and disappear before enemy reinforcements arrived. The aliens still think in terms of massive fleet battles, Admiral Kyung-soo observed. They want to line up their ships and trade broadsides like ancient naval warfare. We will teach them that modern space combat requires new thinking. The teaching moment came sooner than expected. 3 months later, a Galactic Council patrol fleet intercepted human ships in a disputed border region. The alien commander, convinced of his overwhelming superiority, demanded that the humans surrender. Commander Yejin of the human vessel Defiant had a different response. "All ships, execute Pattern Omega," she ordered calmly. The human ships scattered in all directions, moving too fast for alien weapons to track. They regrouped behind the alien formation and began a coordinated attack that targeted the enemy's weakness points with surgical precision. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, the entire alien patrol fleet was disabled, their crews rescued by human ships before their vessels exploded. No humans had been killed, and only minor damage was sustained by the human fleet. More importantly, the entire battle had been recorded and broadcast across the galaxy. Every species could see that human ships were now superior to Galactic Council forces. The response was immediate. 6 more species formally withdrew from the embargo within days. 3 others requested immediate negotiations with human representatives. The mighty Galactic Council was crumbling as former allies abandoned them for the winning side. On Earth, President Jin-A addressed the Global Assembly with calm confidence. The Galactic Council sought to limit human potential through economic pressure, she said to the assembled representatives of humanity. Instead, they have given us the greatest gift possible, the motivation to surpass them in every field. She gestured to displays showing human colonies throughout the galaxy, human technology revolutionizing alien worlds, and human ships exploring regions that had never been mapped before. "We are no longer the junior species begging for acceptance," President Jin-A continued. "We are the leaders of a new galactic order based on merit rather than tradition. Let any species that wishes prosperity join us. Let any species that prefers the old ways of domination and control stand aside." The message was broadcast across the galaxy in every known language. The age of alien supremacy was ending. The age of human leadership had begun. The hunters had become the hunted, and the prey had revealed itself to be the apex predator all along. The war came not with fanfare but with desperation. The remaining hardliners of the Galactic Council, led by the militaristic Dominion caste, could no longer watch their authority crumble without taking action. General Rakhan of the Dominion caste stood before his assembled war fleet in the staging area near Alpha Centauri. Behind him floated 300 warships representing the combined military might of 5 species that still supported the Council. "Today we end the human threat once and for all," General Rakhan announced to his fleet commanders. "They may have superior technology, but they lack our experience in numbers. We have fought wars for 1,000 years. They are children playing with weapons they do not understand." The alien fleet was indeed impressive. Massive battleships that could crack planets, carrier vessels filled with fighter craft, support ships equipped with the most advanced weapons the Council species could produce. By any traditional measure, the humans were hopelessly outmatched. Admiral Kyung-soo received word of the approaching alien armada while reviewing defensive preparations at Luna Station. His response was calm and measured. "Signal all human fleets," Admiral Kyung-soo ordered. "Execute Operation Shepherd. The wolves are coming to visit the sheep." Operation Shepherd was the culmination of 4 years of human military development. Unlike the aliens, who still thought in terms of massive fleet battles, humans had developed entirely new concepts of space warfare. The alien fleet approached Earth expecting to find human ships waiting in traditional defensive formations. Instead, they found empty space. "Where are they?" demanded General Rakhan as his sensors swept the system. "Our intelligence indicated that humans had over 100 ships defending their homeworld." His answer came in the form of micro-jump attacks. Human ships appeared without warning at the edge of the alien formation, fired devastating volleys at specific targets, and vanished back into hyperspace before the aliens could respond. Commander Yejin led one of these strike groups from her flagship Retribution. Her ships moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing so quickly that alien sensors could barely track them. "Target the command ship's communication array," Commander Yejin ordered her weapons officer. "We want to isolate their fleet admiral from his subordinates." The Harmony Drive allowed human ships to make micro-jumps that covered distances in seconds. They could attack from any direction, retreat instantly if threatened, and coordinate their movements faster than alien battle computers could process. But the real advantage was in human weapons technology. Instead of trying to overpower alien shields with brute force, Human weapons used adaptive frequencies that turned the shields against themselves. "Their shields are collapsing," reported Weapons Officer Tae-sung as he watched alien ships lose their primary defenses. "The adaptive disruptors are working perfectly." The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy they could not predict or counter. Human tactics made no sense according to traditional military doctrine. Human weapons violated the established rules of space combat. Human ships moved in ways that should have been impossible. General Rockhan watched in growing horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by an enemy he could barely see. "All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessels when they appear," he ordered desperately. "Focus all weapons on their predicted emergence points." But humans did not emerge where alien computers predicted. They appeared where logic said they should not, attacked targets that seemed unimportant, and withdrew before alien weapons could lock onto them. The battle reached its climax at the Centauri Junction, where the largest concentration of alien ships tried to force their way toward Earth. Commander Yejin's fleet was outnumbered 50-1, but they had advantages that numbers could not overcome. "All ships, execute Formation Phoenix," Commander Yejin ordered. The human ships spread out in a pattern that seemed random to alien observers, but when they activated their coordinated quantum disruption field, the effect was devastating. The alien ships' own weapons turned against them. Their energy systems feed back into overload, and their navigation computers crashed simultaneously. "Impossible," whispered General Rockhan as he watched 3/4 of his fleet disable itself in a matter of minutes. "How can they turn our own technology against us?" The answer was simple but revolutionary. Humans had learned to use quantum entanglement to link their ship systems in real time. Every human vessel could instantly share information with every other human vessel. When they attacked, they did so with perfect coordination that no alien force could match. The decisive moment came when General Rockhan's own flagship lost power. Commander Yejin could have destroyed the vessel and everyone aboard. Instead, she opened a communication channel. "General Rockhan," Commander Yejin said calmly, "your fleet is defeated. Surrender now and your crews will be treated with honor. Continue fighting and we will be forced to destroy ships that could be saved." General Rockhan looked around his bridge at the displays showing his shattered fleet. Ships were exploding or drifting powerless throughout the system. His numerical advantage had become meaningless against an enemy that fought by completely different rules. "I surrender," General Rockhan said quietly. The war was over in 6 months, not because humans conquered alien worlds, but because alien military forces simply could not compete with human technology and tactics. Every battle ended the same way. Alien fleets disabled or destroyed with minimal human losses. The psychological impact was even greater than the military defeat. For millennia, the Council species had believed themselves to be the natural rulers of the galaxy. They had advanced technology, vast fleets, and thousands of years of experience. The idea that a young species could surpass them in every field was almost impossible to accept. On Proxima Prime, the Galactic Council held its final session. Only 4 species still supported the old order. The rest had either joined humanity or declared neutrality. Council leader Yunsu looked around the nearly empty chamber with sad resignation. "We sought to prevent human dominance," she said to the few remaining representatives. "Instead, we created it. By forcing them to become self-sufficient, we made them stronger than any of us." Ambassador Tae-ho nodded grimly. "They no longer need us for anything. Technology, trade, military protection. Humans can provide all of these things for themselves and their allies." The truth was even worse than they realized. Humans were not just independent. They were becoming the center of a new galactic civilization. Species throughout the galaxy were adopting human technology, learning human languages, and following human leadership. The final scene took place in the rebuilt council chambers now relocated to Kepler Station. The old crystal dome of Proxima Prime had been abandoned as galactic civilization moved to follow humanity's lead. Ambassador Jean stood before an assembly that included representatives from over 100 species. Many were aliens who had once supported the embargo against humanity. Now they came as petitioners, seeking membership in the human-led Galactic Federation. "We bear no hatred for past conflicts," Ambassador Jin said to the assembled representatives. The Galactic Council acted according to their understanding of the situation. They saw a potential threat and tried to contain it. "This is natural behavior for any established power," she, gestured to the mixed crowd of humans and aliens working together throughout the station, but true strength comes not from domination, but from cooperation. The old council tried to limit human potential because they feared it would diminish their own power. The new Federation seeks to enhance everyone's potential because we believe prosperity should be shared. One by one, the former council species formally requested membership in the Federation. They offered their knowledge, their resources, and their loyalty to the new galactic order. Ambassador Teho was among them. The Vexarian Empire recognizes the Human Federation as the legitimate government of civilized space, he announced. We request membership and offer our full cooperation in building a better galaxy. The transformation was complete. The species that had once sought to shackle humanity now knelt before human leadership, not in defeat, but in recognition of a superior way of organizing galactic civilization. The hunters had become the hunted. The teachers had become the students, and the young species that was supposed to remain forever junior had become the wise leaders of a new age. In the end, the Galactic Council's greatest fear had come true. Humans had indeed become the dominant species in the galaxy. But their greatest mistake was not realizing that human dominance would benefit everyone, not just humanity itself. The age of fear and limitation was over. The age of cooperation and unlimited potential had begun. 10 years had passed since the last shots of the brief war were fired. The galaxy that emerged from the conflict was unrecognizable from the one that had existed during the days of the old Galactic Council. President Min Jung stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the new capital of the human-led Galactic Federation. Through the transparent walls, she could see a sight that would have been impossible just a decade earlier: human and alien children playing together in the station's recreational areas. The integration. Report from the outer colonies, said her aide, Secretary Young-Soo, handing her a datapad. President Min Jung reviewed the numbers with satisfaction. The former council species were not just adapting to Federation membership. They were thriving under it. Trade between species had increased by 300%. Scientific collaboration had produced breakthroughs that no single species could have achieved alone. Most importantly, the threat of galactic war had been eliminated for the first time in recorded history. What is the status of the Dominion Caste Rehabilitation Program? President Min Jung asked. Exceeding all expectations, Secretary Young-Soo replied. General Rockhan has become one of our most effective peacekeeping commanders. His experience with traditional military doctrine, combined with human tactical innovation, has created the most efficient security force the galaxy has ever seen. This was perhaps the most remarkable transformation of all. The species that had been most opposed to human leadership had become some of its strongest supporters once they experienced the benefits of the new system. On the former Vexarian homeworld, now renamed New Harmony, Ambassador Teho worked in his office overlooking a city that had been transformed by human technology. The pollution that had choked the atmosphere for centuries had been cleared by human environmental nanobots. The crowded, inefficient buildings had been replaced by elegant structures that housed twice as many people in half the space. But the most important changes were not visible from his office window. Vexarian society had abandoned the rigid hierarchy that had defined their culture for millennia. Instead of competing for dominance over other species, they now competed to contribute more to the collective prosperity of the Federation. Latest economic reports from the Federation Worlds, his assistant Kang Ho announced as he entered the office. Teho reviewed the data with amazement that never seemed to fade. Every Federation world was experiencing unprecedented prosperity. Unemployment had been virtually eliminated. Educational opportunities were available to every citizen regardless of species. Healthcare had advanced to the point where most diseases were now minor inconveniences, rather than life-threatening conditions. How did the humans do it? Teho asked, more to himself than to his assistant. The question had puzzled alien scholars for years. Humans seemed to have found solutions to problems that had plagued galactic civilization for millennia. War, poverty, disease, environmental destruction. All of these ancient challenges had been largely solved within a single decade of human leadership. The answer, according to human philosophers, was simple but profound. Where other species had sought to dominate their environment and each other, humans sought to understand and cooperate. Where others had hoarded knowledge and resources, humans shared them freely. Where others had feared change, Humans embraced it as an opportunity for growth. Dr. Eun Jung, now director of the Galactic Research Institute, explained it to a gathering of alien scientists on Kepler Station. "The secret is not in our technology," she said to the mixed audience of humans and aliens. "The secret is in our approach to problem solving. We do not ask, how can we make this work for us? We ask, how can we make this work for everyone?" This philosophy had transformed not just technology but society itself. The caste systems and rigid hierarchies that had defined most alien cultures were giving way to merit-based organizations, where anyone could advance based on their contributions, rather than their birth circumstances. The agricultural worlds of the former Verdani territory, farms that had fed single planets now produced enough food for entire star systems. Human agricultural nanobots could grow crops in environments that had been considered impossible to farm. Desert worlds bloomed with vegetation. Ice planets warmed to support thriving ecosystems. But perhaps the most remarkable change was in the realm of exploration. Human ships continued to push the boundaries of known space, but now they carried mixed crews of humans and aliens working together to map the unknown regions of the galaxy. Captain So-young commanded one such exploration vessel as it approached a previously unknown star system in the galactic rim. Her crew included Vexarians, healer caste medics, techno-collective engineers, and representatives from a dozen other species. Initial scans show 3 potentially habitable worlds, reported Science Officer Kix-7, the same techno-collective engineer who had worked with humans on Kepler Station years earlier. But they appear to be inhabited by a species we have never encountered before. This was the true test of the new galactic order. When the old council had encountered unknown species, the first question was always whether they posed a threat that needed to be contained or eliminated. The Federation asked a different question. "Open communications channels," Captain So-young ordered. "Let us introduce ourselves and see if we can be of assistance." The response from the unknown species was cautious but curious. They had been watching the expansion of the Federation with interest, wondering if these new arrivals would be like the old galactic powers that had occasionally visited their region of space with demands and threats. Within hours, it became clear that the Federation was something entirely different. Instead of demanding tribute or submission, the exploration team offered technology, medical assistance, and educational opportunities. Instead of imposing alien rule, they offered partnership and cooperation. The unknown species, calling themselves the Harmony Seekers, joined the Federation within a month. They were the 137th species to do so, and they would not be the last. Back on Unity Station, President Min-jung met with the Federation Council to discuss the future. The council chamber was a testament to the success of human leadership. Representatives from dozens of species working together to solve problems that affected the entire galaxy. The exploration reports from the Outer Rim are encouraging, reported Admiral Kyung-soo, now head of the Federation fleet. "We have made contact with 18 new species in the past year. All have expressed interest in Federation membership." "What about resistance movements?" asked Dr. Hai Jin, who now served as the Federation's science advisor despite her former opposition to human expansion. "Minimal and declining," Admiral Kyung-soo replied. "The few species that still oppose Federation expansion are learning that isolation is no longer viable. They cannot compete economically or technologically with Federation worlds." This was the final irony of the situation. The Galactic Council had tried to isolate humanity and failed. Now species that tried to isolate themselves from the Federation found that they could not survive without access to Federation technology and trade. Network's President Min-jung stood up to address the Council. 10 years ago, the galaxy sought to shackle human potential because they feared what we might become, she said to the assembled representatives. Today, that potential has been fulfilled, but not in the way anyone expected. She gestured to the diverse crowd of beings working together in the chamber. "We have not conquered the galaxy. We have liberated it. We have not imposed human rule. We have shared human values. We have not created an empire. We have built a family." The transformation was indeed complete. The species that had once plotted humanity's downfall now celebrated human achievements as their own. The hunters had become the hunted, but in the end, both predator and prey had evolved into something greater than either had been alone. The galaxy that had sought to limit human potential had been transformed by that very potential into something magnificent. And the best part was that this was only the beginning. As the Federation ships continued to explore the unknown reaches of space, carrying the message of cooperation and mutual prosperity to species yet undiscovered, one thing was certain: the age of fear and domination was over forever. The age of humanity had begun, and it was an age in which everyone could thrive.